Maybe don't say, I'm sorry the church hurt you, unless they say, the church hurt me. As someone who makes religiously provocative content from time to time, I'm told many things by religious people. Hell, they teach me things that I didn't even know about myself, such as, Satan is my father. But there's one comment that I've been getting more frequently than any other lately. What is that comment, you ask? I'm sorry the church hurt you. I'm sorry that the church hurt you. That's a phrase that has been weaponized by Christian apologists. Why do I take issue with someone saying, I'm sorry the church hurt you? Well, I think that there are a few reasons that phrase is problematic. People telling me I'm sorry the church hurt you is just them undermining all the other reasons why I say I don't believe. Saying I'm sorry the church hurt you implies that the church indeed did hurt me. I often get this comment when I say nothing about the church. I'm not talking about pastors, I'm not talking about church leaders, or my church experiences, or anything. And people will say, I'm sorry the church hurt you. You don't even know me. You haven't even asked what happened. You haven't asked why I'm not a Christian. You haven't asked, what are my church experiences? You don't ask, did the church hurt me? You don't do any of that stuff. You just assume that I had bad experiences with church. I'll be the first to tell you, 95% of my experiences with church are positive experiences. I played in the worship band. I met my wife at church. Had a lot of friends at church. I did puppets for kids' church and liked that very much. I enjoyed my church experiences. Yeah, I had a couple of weird experiences in church and stuff that I wasn't crazy about. But for the most part, I like church. It didn't hurt me. The church didn't let me down. I just stopped believing. I just got to a point where I'm like, I don't believe this. It has nothing to do with the church hurting me. So maybe try asking instead of telling me, I'm sorry the church hurt you. Why else is that statement problematic? Well, the person who says, I'm sorry the church hurt you, is implying that they know the way that churches should be. They know the truth. I'm sorry the church hurt you. I'm sorry you had a bad experience in church. Let me tell you about my church. Let me tell you about the way that church is supposed to be. Let me tell you about the way that people are supposed to worship God. Let me tell you about the way that Christ-like people are supposed to act. Your church was doing it wrong. Here's the right way to do it. You put your faith in people, Kevin. That's where you went wrong. You don't need to put your faith in people or a church. You need to put your faith in God. So let me tell you why you didn't do it right. The church does hurt a lot of people, and I think a lot of people come to the realization that they don't believe any of this stuff because of bad experiences at church. But I don't think it's necessarily exactly why they stop being a Christian. People leave the church because they get hurt by the church, and then that starts them down the road of leaving Christianity. You see, when you're part of a church and you go multiple times a week and you listen to a preacher give a sermon and you dive into your Bible all the time, you can't see the forest for the trees. You're always in that bubble. So if the church does hurt somebody and they leave and they get time away from the church, it's time spent outside the bubble, and those people can end up coming to the conclusion that they don't believe in God. And that ties into the last reason why I think I'm sorry the church hurt you is problematic. Saying that to me implies that you think the reason I don't believe in God is because of church and because of people. And that's just not true. The reason I did believe in God was because of church and because of people and because of the Bible, which was written by people, and because of peer pressure and the society that we live in and being around people who believed it. That was where I went to. That was the natural inclination, was to believe in God. That's not the reason that I don't believe in God. It has nothing to do with people. It has nothing to do with church. It has to do with this right here. Well, I say it doesn't have anything to do with people. It doesn't have anything to do with church people. It has to do with talking to people outside of church and getting an outside perspective and saying, yeah, I can see why you would think that. It led me down the road of critical thinking. If you're a Christian and you're watching this and you have a conversation with a non-believer, maybe don't say, I'm sorry the church hurt you, unless they say, the church hurt me, because it comes off as condescending and like you know everything and you have the solution to their problems. You don't. I played in the worship band. I met my wife. Cool, voice crack.